It's Canteen Cup Tuesday. This week I'm going to do something called Kai in my Canteen Cup, and I'd like to, this Canteen Cup Tuesday I'm sort of sending out to a very nice fella, ex-Navy fella, has a channel on YouTube, hasn't been very active recently. I won't mention any names, but if he sees this he'll know who he is. So this week's Canteen Cup Tuesday is Kai. If you want to know what that is, roll on. There we go then. Let's get the stove lit. So, bit of water, some condensed milk, and some of this visually appealing stuff. So this is actually, it is cocoa. It's the crushed cocoa bean, but it's not cocoa as we know it in the powder form in the tins. This is how it's produced out here. It's crushed up bean, roasted cocoa bean with some spices, usually bay leaf is in there and a few other things. But the point is, because it's the raw bean, it has the fat in it, the cocoa fat, which means that, I mean, you taste it, there's nothing like a chocolate we know. There's absolutely no sugar in it, but this is how it's stored, and of course that's how cocoa got its name. The conquistadors came across this kind of product that the Amerindians were making. Of course they called it cacao. So you might not have known that, but that's where the word cocoa came from. But anyway, not only is it delicious, but it's really good for you apparently. Of course, the chocolate manufacturers, they skim off all the cocoa fat, cocoa butter, and put it in products like, you know, sun cream and cosmetics and things like that. So it's difficult to find cocoa that's got that in it. But in order to make Kai, the closest I can get to Kai anyway. So let me tell you what Kai is. Kai was a name given to a chocolate drink by the Royal Navy. It was a kind of a slang term. It's spelled K-I-E or K-Y-E, depending on who you ask, I guess. I've done a little bit of research on it. I was never in the Royal Navy. The only reason I know about it was that my father was in the Royal Navy. And there was a kind of an oral tradition as well, sort of a ditty thing. I'll come to that in a bit. But Kai was essentially the hard chocolate bars, like cooking chocolate that was in the mess, which had the cocoa fat in it, grated into hot water, usually made in something called a fanny, which is a big aluminum pot, especially for hot drinks, and sometimes it was a dedicated fanny for Kai. And then they would make that up and then mix up a great deal of condensed milk in it. So that's it, those are the basic ingredients. It's not cocoa, it's not the same, it doesn't taste the same. So I'm going to try and reproduce that here with a local cocoa, which is very good. It's going great guns, that cooker today. Oop. You can see it's kind of dry, there's not a lot of moisture in it. I can smell the bay in this. I reckon that's probably enough. It's probably too much, but is there any such thing as too much? Really? So, as I was saying, there's a bit of a pass down, or there was, kind of an oral tradition of ditties, like sailors' poems, and I happen to know one of them. It's the only one I know, and the only reason I know is because, well, it was my dad's idea of, I guess, a kind of a bedtime story, entertainment. Kind of explains a lot, doesn't it? The language in it is a bit near the knuckle. It's not offensive, but so here it goes. There's terminology in there that is kind of slang. It's Navy slang and stuff. So I'll put a kind of a key in the comments so that you can look up the terminology there. But here it goes. This is as I remember it. Up in the Arctic Circle, where the Pongos have never been, lie the body of many a matlow and many a Royal Marine. Cold, cold as charity. Cold, by Christ, that's chilly, but not as cold as Willie. He's dead, poor bugger, he's dead. It was the cold that got him. His oppo had forgot him and didn't bring him any midnight kai. The morning watchman found him, his frozen coat around him, and took him to the sick bay, there to die. Cold, cold as the hairs on a polar bear's chuff. Cold as custard on pussers' duff. Cold? My Christ, that's chilly. But not as cold as Willie. He's dead, poor bugger. He's dead. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I thought I'd get that down on record because, as I said, I can't find it written down anywhere. It's something that's passed on from word to mouth, word of mouth. And as I said, the only reason I know it is because my father taught it to me. So there it is. So that's kai, and a little ditty about kai. I found an unusual critter today. While we're waiting for this to boil, let's have a look at it and tell me if you know what it is. Tell me if you... Leave a comment, leave something in the comments and tell me what it is. Yeah, close I can get. That's pretty close, isn't it?
That's very cool.
A walking stick.
It's holding.
Weird here. The wonders of nature. Alright, well, we're on the boil, so it's time for a bit of the condensed milk. Oh, now we're talking. I've seen things, I did a little bit of research on the web before I made the video, and the proportions vary, but there's even one where it says, complete tin of condensed milk in, I think it was a pint of water, and then the appropriate kind to the appropriate, the chocolate, cocoa in there to suit. Oh, it's looking good now. There it is then. You can see that you can, and if you, I don't know whether you can get that on camera, but you can actually see the cocoa butter floating on the top there. Oh, way too hot to drink yet. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. I know this is going to be delicious. Canteen Cup Tuesdays, there's a whole bunch of guys doing it. Just type in Canteen Cup Tuesday in the search bar in YouTube and a whole set of guys will spring up. There's Manland 121, there's Carolina Chris, there's Cheesehead Chris, there's the fellow that started it all, Florida Boy Survival, MT Woods Runner, to name but a few. And I noticed that this week Eat Carbs Outdoors another good channel if you haven't seen that. He did his first Canteen Cup Tuesday this week, so head on over there, check it out, give him some support. That's it from me this week. Hope you enjoyed it. A little bit unusual. Till the next one, Scout out.